So everybody, Mike Lyons here, IFBB Pro. So we're going to get into full shoulder day today. So I'm going to start off with a standing Viking press. So we have this great machine here at the local gym that I train at. And I like to do it single arm instead of double arm. That's just because of my ailments and injuries over the years. So as we're getting into it, I like to grab a hold of this one here just for stabilization. And what you want is you want everything coming down straight. So you don't want to come down in this sort of angle. You want it up and down. So you're pressing straight up with it. You don't want to twist your body, that I've seen a lot of people do. So the whole point is get yourself in a basic athletic stance, and I'm using this for that whole purpose of not twisting my body. So I'm keeping myself stable and up. Common mistakes are, as I mentioned, people like to twist. So they want to put more weight on, but when they do that and they come down, their body wants to twist and kind of bend down and kind of throw into it. And that's exactly what we don't want to do. We're keeping everything nice and still and stagnant. And we're letting our shoulder do all the work. So we're not coming down, loading into like a shot put or anything like that, and they're not kind of putting everything into it. And that's where a lot of people go awry. They start using their other body parts to help them press this up. It's a shoulder press, called a shoulder press for a reason. So you want your shoulder just be doing all the work. So that's why when you get into this, you want it to the point where everything's nice and still, stagnant, it's not moving. The only thing moving is your arm and your shoulder. So for sets and reps, I would prefer to do it, have a couple feeder sets. So lower in the weight, get yourself warmed up, and then start slowly increasing your weight. So 2 feeder sets and 4 working sets. Working sets, you're looking at between 10 to 12 repetitions, and really kind of push yourself to go a little bit heavier, but make sure your form stays as close to perfect as you can. When you start feeling your legs kind of give that little bit of jolt, or you feel yourself twist, that's where you've hit your limit. You just can't press that much. So that's where you got to stop and move, like lower the weight, and get right back into the proper form if you want your shoulders to grow. So now I'm going to move on to dumbbell side laterals and superset it with front raises with dumbbells. So basically my philosophy on shoulders is it's something that can take a lot of volume. So after we did the pressing and the heavier weights, now I'm going to move on to complete and utter obliteration really in volume. So I'm going to do side laterals to failure, and then I'm going to go to single arm front raises, also to failure. So you sit in here, slight bend forward, so letting those dumbbells kind of hang, and then you're coming up. Everyone's biggest mistake with this is they try to go too heavy, and then they're really kind of using momentum. They're bringing their torso. The only reason my chest is coming up is because my arms are coming up. So my arms are doing all the control and all really the tension. Like my whole thought process is I'm not thinking about the dumbbell, I'm thinking about my elbow. So it's all elbow. So my elbow's coming up to my shoulder height. And I always going back down to that stretch. So down to here where it dangles, up. Down to the dangle, up. If I get to the point where I'm gonna fail or something like that, a lot of people, they'll start throwing body into it. So they'll start just jerking it. Start doing that, that's completely wrong. Do not do that. Or they're letting the weight control the tempo. So they're throwing it up and then just dropping it, throwing it up and just dropping it. Don't do that. Control the weight. And once you get to the point where you're failing, I want you to come down here, get to the stretch, just do some partials. Partials at the bottom. And once you get to the point where you can't do the partials anymore, sit up nice and tall. And you're gonna start doing front raises. Individual. Here is, as you're coming up, and I've mentioned this before, think about you're holding a cup in your hand. Again, it's all elbow. So elbow's coming up to parallel, and you're pouring that water out the front. Pour. You control the weight, don't let the weight control you. So you notice that I'm slowing the way down, doing the negative. I'm not just throwing it up and letting it fall like this. And then once you get to the point where you're gonna you're failing and you can't do another rep, just do a couple partials, double armed. And that is one superset. You're gonna do 3 supersets of that, both of them to failure, all the way to partials. So the big thing here, like I mentioned, is don't let the weight control you. Don't go too heavy. Form is paramount. Once you cannot do a regular rep, move on to partials. And then once you can't do a partial, you move on to the front raise. Same thing. You go into the point where you cannot do a proper rep, and then you go into the partials. That is one set. Now we're gonna move on to rear delts. So I'm using this particular rear delt machine, but you can use a dumbbell in the same regard. So like a bent over dumbbell side lateral or a pec deck with the chest protected here. Big thing is utilize it on the outside of your wrist, or you're pushing the dumbbell with the outside of the wrist and you're driving elbow back. And remember, it's not a rotation that goes beyond parallel. It's such a small muscle, you don't need to go back that far. Again, you want your shoulders pushed forward. As soon as you start to retract back, your traps are going to get engaged. So everything's pushed out in front of me. I got my hands on inside of the bar here. And I'm controlling the weight. Everything pivots away from that joint. As I said, notice that I'm not going past parallel. And what I mean by that is just cranking it way past here. There's no activation. All you're doing is getting your traps and your back engaged. So it's just such a small muscle. Your range of motion is actually quite short, but you have to get that stretch. You have to push that out and get yourself out there and pivot away from that joint. Like everything's away from you. And again, another thing a lot of people don't understand is tempo when it comes to this sort of exercise. Tempo has a lot to do with a lot of exercises, but especially with this one, a lot of people have trouble engaging the rear delt. So if you want to come out and hold that for a couple seconds and nice and slow. Like, I'm not big on counting how many seconds you were doing this, like 4 seconds eccentric, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not big on that. I'm big on control the weight, feel it. So when you come back, hold it, feel the tension in your rear delt. You'll feel it start to burn, and nice and slow. So you actually feel the weight dissipating off of it, but you feel the stretch starting to increase as you come forward. And then back, hold it, slow, slow, slow on the way back. Like these guys out there that have programs that are like 4 seconds here, 2 seconds there, 4 seconds or 8 seconds. I'm sorry, when you're in bodybuilding, you're not sitting there and you're actually like contemplatingly thinking when you got heavy weight. So you're like, oh, it's got to be 4 seconds here and 3 seconds here. And you just feel. You go for the feel. When you're going to the flex point, you pause at the flex. When you're going for the stretch, you pause at the stretch. When you want to feel basically the negative, it's slow and controlled. It's just slow, so you feel it. That's the biggest thing that I push is feel every inch of that rep. So if it's slow or quick or whatever you're doing quick on the positive, slow on the negative. If you're holding the stretch or holding the flex, you got to feel it. You got to feel it where you want to feel it. If you're working on your chest, you feel it in your chest. If you're working on your shoulders, you feel it in your shoulders. So it's none of this whole, you're working your chest, but you feel it in the shoulder. It's just a waste of your time. So big thing is control the weight, feel what you're doing. If you're not feeling it, slow the tempo down so you actually do feel it. Slow so you feel like pause at the stretch, pause at the flex. So those are the big and easiest common sense things I can tell people is don't think seconds. It's got to be 4 seconds here. It's got to be 6 seconds here. No. Slow, progressive, control, and pause. That's it. Like, it's common sense. Pause. Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause till I feel the flex. Okay, now I'm going to slow, slow, slow on the way back. I'm going to pause at the stretch. It's common sense, people. Like, just don't overcomplicate it because there's too many other things that you need to think about with form and everything else that you need to concentrate on, rather than thinking about it's gonna be this many seconds and that many seconds. Just think about pause, slow, controlled, feel the rep. That's it. So we're going into the last exercise. We're gonna do a cable upright row. So I like to use the rope just because I can actually pull it apart. Biggest mistakes when people do upright rows, they have their hands too close together and it puts too much torque on the shoulder joint itself. So again, everything is elbows, and you're basically bringing your elbows above your hands. So a little bit of lean back, I get that angle. And as you can see, I'm pulling everything apart. When you bring this up, you want to feel it more in your rear delt and side delt. So you don't really want to feel anything in the front. So if you're feeling it in the front, you get everything too far out in front of you. So you're bringing it back towards you. And you got rear delt and a little bit of the side delt, and you will feel a bit in your traps as well. It's a great finisher at the end of a high volume day for shoulders. And then a lot of people, when they do this, they just go too heavy and they start leaning over, and then they'll, as I said, they can't pull it apart. They can't actually pull the cable apart, so they're starting to just bring it in, and it's more like a hammer row than it is anything else. So instead of bringing it in, they're doing like a hammer row and bringing it kind of in towards themselves. So you gotta pull it apart. Sets and reps of this one is, I'm gonna do 3 sets of this. Preferably I would go anywhere from like 12 to 15. This one you can increase the weight a bit, but don't go too heavy because your shoulders are gonna be absolute mesh by this point. So you wanna do a weight that you control and you can actually do proper form instead of just jacking the weight up. And that's, again, I know I preach it a lot, but that's where a lot of people go astray, is they think dropping the pin or adding more plates or picking up a heavier dumbbell is gonna equal bigger muscle. Well, if your technique is off and your tempo is off, that's 3 of the big pillars that you're not hitting. Weight's like, in my mind, one of the last things. Your form has to be good, and your tempo's gotta be good, and basically controlling the weight, all that stuff. It's all gonna be top form before you get into increasing your weight. And then it comes down to what sort of protocol. Are you doing the failure? Are you doing heavy lifting, like low rep? There's so many different protocols that you can kind of come into play, but there's some body parts that could just take abuse and take the high tempo, high rep range, stuff like that. So shoulders is one of them in my mind. So that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the information that I gave you, and as always, we're gonna definitely bring some more information your way. If there's anything you guys want me to kind of concentrate on or want me to show you that I haven't shown you in the past, please drop a comment, drop a subscribe, tell your friends to get on here and subscribe. It's just information that I'm basically giving away that hopefully you guys are utilizing in the gym for yourself and getting those gains and getting that body that you always wanted. All right.